Fuck, I better go live on all of them then. Shit. Shit. How do I talk myself into doing all this shit? Alright. Well, I mean, I guess it's, you know. Alright. So, I got a question for everybody, and I hope you can all hear me while you're looking at my lovely couch at the moment. There's this concept of like different types of pet owners, and a lot of people like believe that only a certain quality of person deserves the right to own a pet. And this denotation of a pet also comes with you having to factor in the concept that a pet is generally what is one considering a elf on a shelf animal. An elf on a shelf animal is one that spends about as much time in your life in its totality outside of its cage, its pen, its leash, its I don't know, whatever you want to call it, and or the confines of the house, in comparison to how often the owner is away from it. So like a pet is a shelf on an elf animal. Okay, so we'll agree to this. A lot of people buy pets for exorbitant amounts of money to like, oh, they're so cute, oh, they're so this, oh, they're so that. But that's the purpose of it. That's their relationship. Okay, so that is kind of like a hard thing to swallow. There's lots of pets sold. Pets are a status symbol thing. Okay, you know, you buy exotic pets, right? There's that concept, exotic pets, right? So as you're sitting there staring at my lovely couch and I'm like making up this sauce here, I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm making up some homemade sauce here. Whoa! I just dripped it on my floor. So I can eat a potato. I like making my potatoes. I leave the skin on them. Here's one right here. Bam. Skin still on it. Bam. Skin on it. And you throw it in a pot of water on medium, and you let the water, you know, kind of lightly roll for a minute, and then you just set it to the side, let it cool down, and what happens is the skin acts as a microwave, kind of. So fucking peeling the motherfucker and making mashed potatoes, I made mashed potatoes inside the thing. And once these have kind of like cooled down, they're super mushy, and as soon as you crack the skin, look at that. Look at this. The skin just peels right off. And that's actually fucking mashed potato right there. Believe it or not. Like, you didn't even see me crack it, I'm sorry. I don't know what camera I played that on. Or look at that fat belly. Telling you, Crohn's and polyps and all kinds of shit I've been through, and umbilical hernia, it's sometimes hard to keep it tight. It's so fast. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan. So there's mashed potato. I'll eat the skin too. So like I said, there's this concept of pets, right? And then there's this concept of companion animals. Now, companion animals, man. Companion animals are an animal that's like your sponsor back into the real world. So, what we're gonna think of here is like you have your sponsor, which generally helps calm down your mood or makes your anxiety better or your PTSD handleable. So these are like vital animals in your life. And then you have like work animals, right? They may work on the farm. They may work on your blind ass making it down the road. Nog, unfortunately, when I gotta use the bathroom and I'm asleep. And among other things. And so there's all these various levels of domestication. Whoa. What do you say is domestication? Well, domestication is where they're no longer considered feral. See, domestication is when Mother Earth is no longer responsible for their care, and mankind has moved into its place and decided to take over that responsibility. Now in America, you don't hear about feral packs very often. Very, very rarely do you ever hear about a feral pack of dogs. Unless you're talking about a wolf, a coyote, or something of that canine orientation. So now, humans are responsible for all this. Their food, their natural health care, their grooming, their bathroom, and their emergency health care. Now, we've taken on all this responsibility, domesticated them all. Their existence wouldn't be what is. But now it is considered like a privilege to own an animal. Now, this doesn't matter whether or not it's a service animal like mine, who helps make my life dramatically easier to transpire in the world. And I love him for it. I love him to death. I love him like I love a human. And what really confounds me is that we don't have a universal health care for something like this that we've domesticated. It's still a privilege to provide health care to something that is no longer allowed to do so on their own. And you ask me, well, what the hell does that mean? Well, if you ever watch nature shows, you'll notice sometimes that occasionally they'll play videos where animals have gotten high or all kinds of other things. And there's other videos where these same animals are going to natural herbs and consuming them for whatever means that they may have. Now, they may not always accurately get everything correct. They may still end up having worms in the end because whatever reason. But in actuality, they live healthy lives for the majority of it because they know how to ascertain the health care that has been handed down to them generation to generation. When you domesticate them, you force the human concept on them. Doctors, hospitals, insurance, and so forth. Now, you would assume that since there is such domestication of citizens that is equal to it, and that these animals have equal rights, both in a legal aspect, on a local level, and then a federal level, because there's such thing as animal abuse, denying an animal that has actually recently and scientifically been proven to evolve to show and react to human emotion in the facial concept using facial expression equal to that of a human, the right to natural health care. So on a local and federal level, one would assume that there would be some sort of governmental service of veterinary care, of health care, both dental and otherwise, just like there is for humans. But no such thing exists. And if you're like in my position, where you only get $200 a month in disability, and they're asking you for $100 just to walk through the door and say hello to the doctor and not even diagnose the problem, it makes it even just as difficult for somebody who only gets $700. To walk through the door to say hello at $100, even at $50, is a lot. And it's understandable that it's that much. They went to school, they got an education. But why isn't there a universal local government and federal level healthcare system provided for domesticated animals that have evolved to such a level that they can emote human emotion? Now, I know my videos are really hard to watch and really hard to follow because talking to myself is very difficult. But I've talked to a few people about this today, and they themselves find it quite astounding that a country that is so as developed as ours and has so many laws protecting these lives. We call them lives. They're alive. They're animated. They have a soul to the sense that we can consider them abusable, right? So, I mean, honestly, you know, I know we're fighting battles in other countries and shit like this, but how many animals are being abused because they're being denied the equal right to health care, when being put in a position where they cannot ascertain health care on their own as they would naturally. So if they can't walk down the road, go to the doctor's office, say, hey, I got a cold, my owner's at work, can you please, make sure I'm okay so I can do my job at home, and then walk his happy ass home and be back at home when, his owner gets home, or however which way you want to consider ownership to truly be, then, that's still fucking unequitable. And we consider these lives that are abusable. So if you can abuse it and you're denying it equal health care to that of what its relative neighbor has, especially since they pay a tax to live in your city, then, this seems to be really misconstrued as to what is considered a life, what is not, what is an abusable life, and what is not. I mean, if you can't beat your child, then you can't beat your dog, and you have to provide health insurance for your child, and if you can't, the government will, then, the same concept should equally apply to your dog. If you cannot pay for, or your cat, I guess, if you will, but I mean, yeah, I guess I can't be prejudiced, but cats just seem to always disappear in my life. So, I've never had one hang around long enough that I wanted to have to go to the vet. Maybe because they didn't want me to have to deal with it. But, if you can't afford to take your dog to the vet, or your bird, why isn't there a government set system? I should be able to take my fucking, government issued vet card down and get my dog checked up as often as it is suggested, right? Because there are kind of regulations suggesting their healthcare. So it is regulated, and it is a healthcare system. And everything but having locally government and federally sponsored programs, you can find in many healthcare insurance systems that you can buy on the side, healthcare for a human and your pet in the same package. For instance, one is called Care Credit. They have human medical, human dental, animal medical, and animal dental affordable credit card essentially. And it's on, the same regulated system. But there is no government sponsored on either level. And that to me sounds quite ridiculous. If I have an animal that has paperwork from my doctor and my psychologist stating that he has services that he provides for me on a medical level, he should be able to receive fucking healthcare. And this really pisses me off because I wanted to take him to the doctor the last 2 days and I can't. So I'm gonna bitch about it live, and I think everybody else should too, because what they're basically stating to you is that you have to have at all times, no matter what happens in your life, no matter if COVID happens, no matter if a tornado happens, no matter if a tsunami happens, an extra $500 in your pocket, up to 1,000 at all times, just for one pet. Now, we just got out of homelessness, so we're still working on shit. I don't got the extra 1,000 on the side, but I'd like to take my dog to the vet and make sure that everything's A-okay. So it's like I can pay all these other fees and get a lot less of an exam, or I could pay like $1,000 and get like all the exams. So it just depends on like how much gold digging, because like I can get like an exam that gives him a couple of shots because he's due for a couple of shots, right? And I get a free exam, but the free exam won't test for anything like, could he have a UA? Urinary tract infection. Could he have this or that? The only thing that they can do to say that they've done a comparable exam on him is a eyesight exam. So like, does he have fleas? Does he have like, some other crap, right? But if you wanted like a full on, what you could as a human go into your doctor and just be like, I just wanted like a full checkup. I just want, do some blood work, give me, pull my pee, check my pee, give me, just do a full workup on me. Make sure everything's doing good, right? Bam, done, right? All the tests are ordered, your blood check's done, everything's good to go. Make sure your potassium levels are good, blah, 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 blah. They like it when you come in just for that general checkup, right? Because it's like preventative maintenance, right? You just go in, they give you your fucking stats and shit, and you know what you need to do. Like maybe your cholesterol's a little high and you gotta walk some more, or whatever it may be. Maybe you've been eating too many Doritos and you got back out Doritos. Maybe you've had too much milk, or who knows, whatever the fuck it is, right? But you can't go in for something that is vital in your life, either protects your house from crackheads breaking in, or meth heads, or heroin addicts, or fucking Dilaudid fans, or fucking basic thieves, or, they got the fucking new pills out there that everybody's smoking left and right. Who knows why somebody's breaking in your house? Maybe they're drunk, maybe they just got mental health problems. Who fucking knows, right? So you got dogs that protect a house, right? You got dogs that like help raise your kids for various reasons. Maybe your kid's got disabilities or doesn't. Maybe you have a service animal ESA. So my dog, it is a service animal and an ESA. Maybe your dog is an ESA. Maybe your dog is a service animal. It just depends. Like it could be a few various things. And maybe you just have a regular dog. Maybe, who knows? There's a gazillion reasons why you could have a dog in your life. And the problem with this is that like, there's only so many vets, right? COVID happens, all kinds of other stuff happens. And like, next thing you know, you know, the country goes through this blah, and so many people are displaced, and then as everything starts to come back together, of course, some dogs are starting to come down with stuff because they're getting more back out in life. They're getting more integrated, right? So, like, as you're supposed to do proper pet care and take care of your dog and take him out there and keep him socialized and, you know, just, you know, all the good parental things you would do, right? And then, like, you risk the chance of, you know, maybe your dog getting a urinary tract infection or maybe getting worms or maybe getting, who knows, right? Who knows? Who knows? Like, one of my friends, I think just lost like 2 dogs or 4 dogs, something like that, to parvo. Like, fucking parvo just took out like 2 sets of his dogs. So I was like, whoa, right? So, like, you know, and that was not that far from here, and I'm in Vancouver, Washington. So it's like, if you don't have like accessible emergency 24-hour health care for something that's vital in your life, that's life altering, right? Sometimes you can't come back from that. And like, I myself, you know, like, he does all kinds of stuff for me, you know what I mean? And like, that's my best friend. That's my sober companion. Like, that's my medical companion. So it's like, if he goes, if something dramatically happens to him, you know, it's gonna dramatically affect me. And it's like, then, you know, everybody says, oh, we'll just go get a new service dog. You can't just go get a new service dog. You can't just go get a new cross-qualified service dog either that's like able to perform like very exacting specific services that are unique and also be emotional support for somebody it's in sobriety, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, there's a lot of things to consider there, you know, and so it's like, it'd be nice, you know, knowing that I could just walk into a clinic with my little clinic card, you know, and if it were, you know, universal to where I could walk into any medical clinic, you know, and they could still get paid good, you know what I mean? Maybe a slight discount, who knows, you know, but don't fucking cheap them off like they're vets, you know what I mean? Like, they have very specific, unique care to like a very vast, broad variety. It's not like just working on humans. Like, I mean, just dogs alone, like, you have to be so cross-qualified and trained for all the vast varying differences. I mean, there's so many differences that there are actually some vets that do not take on certain breeds of dogs just because they don't want to take on the uniqueness of that breed or the uniqueness of that type of dog. You know, so it's like, you know, I respect it. I fully respect it. So it's like, you know, you would think that, like, you know, government would invest into this, especially like a government that uses canines in the military, they use canines in the police force, canines in you know, human rescue teams. You know, so like canines are a vital part of America, and like they are so last minute cared for. It's something that, again, you know, and you can YouTube this, you can Google this. This is acceptable science across the fucking planet that dogs have evolved facial expressional communication and are able to communicate on an expressional form facially with humans if you're open to understanding that that's what they are doing. So it's considered non-verbal communication markers. It's something very similar to what the deaf community uses. They'll use their face to be very expressive, and you know, sometimes it's not quite what the normal society uses as non-verbal communication markers, but they're still non-verbal communication markers, and dogs are quite a bit more like verbal humans and their non-communication markers, but you know, it's something that's still, I guess, you know, being fully exposed to humans. So, you know, as the generations of canines go on, this communication factor is just going to grow and grow, right? So you have dogs now that can say, I love you, and dogs that can do all kinds of fucking shit. dogs that have blown away the ability to tell color. All the things that said that dogs couldn't do pretty much are gone. Like, I mean, a dog could do so fucking much. Like, a dog can climb a ladder. A dog, like, they could paint, they could, whatever the fuck you want to do. If you can make an apparatus effective for dog use, right? So if you can make an apparatus effective for dog use, a dog can pretty much operate fucking damn near anything. Like, seriously. Some breeds are a little bit dumber than others, so, some breeds would probably be like, operate certain things better than others, while some breeds would be operating starships, you know what I mean? But there's always going to be the smart one in every breed, so, that's why I like mixed breeds. I like mixed breeds better. But I'm just being a jerk on the matter. So, like, if we have something that's proven evolution, right? It's proven that it evolves. It's proven that its intelligence is evolving just like the evolutionary intelligence of each generation of a human. So, as we produce all this great technology, it seems like our offspring knows how to operate the new technology before the people creating it have sent it out to all the rest at the same age. Like, the newborns are like, oh, hey, Dad, this is how you put your settings in. And I'm like, that was just released 6 months ago? And your kid's like 2 years old or some shit. Dogs are quite the same. They're very smart. They're very intelligent. They can do all kinds of shit. I mean, they've had to reinvent locks on cages because dogs evolved and were able to cross-communicate how to get the fuck out of traditional cages. So, I mean, why not provide adequate, authentic healthcare for something like this? It's. I mean, shit. They were fucking here before humans, right? They're here before humans. We're responsible for taking care of them, and we treat them like the greatest slaves to ever exist. Like, and this sounds disrespectful to all the other human slaves, but think about it. We enslaved canines. We domesticated them, right? And then decided that as humanity civilized more, because there was healthcare given to canines back in the ancient days. Like, they were vastly respected. They were vastly important amongst, like, all the civilization's growth, until civilizations had grown so much that it evolved so much to the point where, like, the new weaponry and the new transportability and this and that, they're pretty much reserved to different forms of service animal and protection animal. But in reality, like, their jobs even more were so much more. They were healthcare providers for humans. They were nursemaids for humans. They were the taxis for humans. They were, canines amongst human evolution have literally played every role. Like, every role that you can think of. You say, oh, well, the taxi driver, well, where do you think the fucking goddamn sleds come from? Like, you put a team of dogs in the front of it and you're in the back. If that team doesn't want to follow your direction, trust me, you're going wherever they want to take you unless you bail off. Like, if for some reason you end up with a rogue team, man, you better hold the fuck on, right? And if you're a new driver anyways, you still got to learn how to operate your team. So, they're the fucking taxi. You're just the rider, right? And you pay your transport by feeding them and caring for them and treating them well and loving them. There's the key thing right there, loving them. So, like, what would happen, let's say another, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 140 years from now, 200 years from now, right? And these beasts, these alpha apex predators keep evolving, right? And humans just keep treating them like shit. Like, seriously, like, we think we give them good lives. You're fucking shitting yourself, right? I don't give a fucking care what you think. You're still not providing the life that something this revered deserves. Like if you say, "Oh, my dog's got 100 acres," where's his cafe? Where's his shopping center? Where's his automatic healthcare system? Like on his 100 acres, like that he can just freely go to at any given point in time, and it's all right there, right? So like, I mean, unless you can aspire to like, treat them as you literally were your living child, or even better than you would your living child, because most people would treat their governor or their priest or their pastor or their president better than their child. So, if you whoever that is living among you that you would treat better than your child, consider that you should provide something like on that level for your canine, right? I mean, these guys got stories that come back from before humans were even made, right? So, like, if you were ever allowed to tap into that, that would be fucking, you know what I mean? You'd be given an ultimate key to, like, mother, like, insane, and God, of course. But, Mother Earth's responsible for the birth of everything that walks here, and ultimately, with the command of God. So like, if we get back to this, 40, 50, 70, 200 years later, and we're still treating him on this level, this slave, this prisoner, right? This forced indentured servant, that is able to evolve and can evolve to the point where they could literally just like take over mankind in like one night. Like think 101 Dalmatian meets like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? So like, the entire fucking canine population like across the planet in one howl of a night just fucking wipes out humanity. It is so easily done. So easily done. You sleep next to them. You live in the same house as them. All they're going to do is take out your Achilles tendon and your heel, and you're fucked. I don't give a fuck. You're fucked. They'll just take it out and just walk away if they want to. Like, they don't even have to finish you off. Like, they have watched so much TV, listened to so much radio, like, they have absorbed mankind. Like, mankind thinks that they can ultimately, like, kill all the canines across the entire planet. Dude, a Chihuahua could come up to you, and probably, like, a good, strong Chihuahua, you never know, man. There's a couple arteries in your necks, man. They might be able to fucking nail them. Like, I've seen them fucking dig a tooth down into your arm. I was like, holy fuck. Like, if they could get down into your neck and just hit it just right, ooh-wee. Maybe they won't even, like, pop it through the skin. They'll just pop it under the skin. Oh, then your neck would just go, bleh. Oh, God, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'd rather them eat my face off. Oh, but don't eat my face. But, so it's like, I wonder about this. Like, and I wonder about, like, all these fucking, like, people that are, like, in the power and the control and in the offices that make all these decisions, right? That have made these choices that it's acceptable for, like, canines and stuff to mankind to treat animals this way, right? And then it's just going to take, like, this one day, like I said, it's just going to take, like, this one fucking 101 Dalmatians gone wrong day, right? And it's fucking on like Donkey Kong. Like, dude, I mean, fuck, gosh, jeez Louise. Like, dude, you're taking an army to take out canines. But if you think about it, though, all the important people got a canine. Right? All the important people got a canine to protect them. So, like, if it goes down, like, the line, and they realize that, like, all their ancestors have all been treated like shit, but they're like the one that can make the difference by killing, like, the head honcho dude, and then, like, all the rest of the canines killing all the bad ones, but, like, the good people, the ones that treat him good, are left alive. Think about what kind of a movie that would be. And it is something that has been, like, actually calculated as, like, one of these like apocalyptic events, like, but what they didn't consider was like the evolutionary aspect amongst like how canines are, how they communicate, and then like, you know, the fact that like technology is what it is today. And so like, you know, a lot of stuff could be as simple as like, oh, we need to block humans from communicating. They're just gonna eat the cell phones, right? Crunch, crunch, cell phone don't work no more, right? Easy for a dog to destroy cell phones all over the planet. Cut a few wires, oh yeah, easy for a dog to do. Just walk up to the outlet, chomp, right? A little zip, nothing for a dog, right? Oh, we gotta take out like their like cable, oh, easy, chomp, gone, cable, right? And they're gonna do this while you're sleeping, so they're like gonna sleekly come through your house and just like take out all the shit that you need to like call for help, and then they're just gonna be like, whoa! And then like you're like, fucked, dude. It's like fucking like Pet Cemetery all over again, but these fuckers ain't dead. It's the human cemetery, right? Because it's just like all of a sudden, like, you think about all the canines across the planet and what that means, like canine, and then like you think about like the humans that are like susceptible to this attack, and it's like 2-3 trillion dropped the first hour. The second hour it's like another 2 trillion drop. 4 trillion gone off the planet. Like boom. Like 2 hours gone. 4 trillion people. Right? And then you're going, how many more are gonna be wiped out by hour 3? Right? Like, what a fucking movie, man. Holy shit. If you make a book out of it after watching my video, like, send me a copy. I want to know. But hey, you know, like, I mean, shit, you know. Alright. Well, it was enough said about all of that. Have a good night.